Hey there, welcome to Woohoo Wednesday. Some of you celebrated Easter this weekend, but I'm sure all of you have heard of the Easter Bunny. And what does the Easter Bunny do? He plans Easter egg hunts. Now let's think about it. What's the real emotional benefit of an Easter egg hunt? It's that sense of discovery and reward when you're hunting around for these Easter eggs, and sometimes you have to look in these really crazy places for someone who's really clever to hide them, and you get that super cool prize. So that made us think of a different kind of hunt. Hunting for inspiration. Now at Bamboo, we call them idea treks, and we've designed and facilitated them all around the world for innovation teams who are looking to go somewhere new. Now, like Easter egg hunting, there's a certain kind of hunting that you should be doing because it's in your job description. You should be looking at your category and what your competitors are doing. You should be going to grocery stores or whatever category or channel you're in, and you should be shopping them all the time. We're not talking about that kind of hunting. We're not talking about going into your category or adjacencies. We're talking about going far outside to then get inspiration to then come back. And like any good Easter egg hunt, you don't want to just pick up eggs that are right in front of you that are super boring. You want a challenge. You want something new. So of course, the eggs right in front of you are the things that you should be seeing in your category. We're talking about how to go out and find all that new inspiration. So how do you plan this? Well, you might only have 2 hours, you might have a whole day, but we're going to tell you kind of the core elements of creating a great idea trek. Okay, so first, who do you take along? Second, where do you take them? Third, what do you do to collect what you're learning? Fourth, what do you do when you get home? Okay, so first, who do you take along? Don't just think about just your team. You want to go outside of your team to bring in some interesting people who are going to have a different perspective that might not be in the daily fishbowl of your category or your brand. Now, these are people who might be considered creative or more creative than you. They might have a totally different job than you. They might come from engineering if you're in marketing. They might come from legal, but they're people who are curious. So you want people who are curious and open-minded to also add some diversity to your team's perspective. Second, where do you go? Now, I'm going to give you 2 ways in to design a great idea trek. There are many different ways that we design idea treks, but these are 2 that you can think about. First, you can think about the benefits that you're trying to deliver. So look at the benefits that you're trying to deliver or that you really want to talk about, and then think about who else might be pursuing that same benefit. So, for example, we were pursuing a benefit for our client of intensity, and we designed an excursion for one of the teams where we took them through a Zumba class. They actually had a surprise Zumba class, had to do Zumba right in the moment. They also went to see a hypnotist. So that was just one benefit that they were exploring. If you work in DIY equipment, and let's say you're looking at a new kind of saw for someone's garage, and you really want to focus on intuitive safety and control, how might you create an excursion to think about safety and control in a different way? I would take my team to meet with some kind of a robotic specialist that's in the medical field. So talk to a surgeon about using these cyber knives and what are the things that they like or don't like, what are the things that give them control, where are the safety mechanisms built in, how do consumers think that this is going to be safe, that a robot is doing their surgery, how do they know that the surgeon who's got 30 years experience has enough control, how might you learn from that? What if you went to talk to a daycare manager about how they think about safety and control from the point of their perspective as well as from the parent's perspective or from the child's perspective? So how might you learn from that excursion? So think about the brand benefits and then who might else be delivering those brand benefits. Go out and add those into your excursion. Second, what are the brand attributes that you either have that you want to amplify or that might be missing that you want to add or create? So we had a client who used to be silly, but now they've gotten kind of stuffy. And they said, we'd really like to be more silly. And so we designed silly excursions all around Paris. We had the team singing for money on the streets of Paris. We had them at a tumor morgue and death museum in Paris at a really secret spot in a university that no one had access to see the silly side of serious and just how gross it needs to get before you start laughing. So we explore all these different aspects of being silly to take them somewhere new. So let's think about a brand benefit that you might try to pursue. So let's say a high-end brand, a luxurious brand wants to really pursue service. Now, of course, you can go to the known suspects. Everyone looks at Nordstrom, the Four Seasons, Zappos, right? Been there, done that. You should be studying those anyway. However, how could you look at different aspects of service? So how might you look at intuitive servants or people who know realistic service or people who know luxury service. And so what if you talk to someone who is a full-time unpaid community volunteer, someone who has to read the community and understand what their needs are, and they are in service to them? What if you took your team to a white glove car detailer who does these pimped out, souped up, super drive, long cars with all of the pointy wheels and everything, and you talk to them about what service means to their clientele? How might you learn from someone who has a totally different perspective? Like, let's say a ticket agent for the airline who gets yelled at all day. What does service mean to them? How do they know what good service is and what bad service is? What are the cues of service? So going out to other categories and different experiences are going to take you somewhere new. You just can't help yourself. Okay, so we went through who goes, where do you go? Now, what do you do when you're on the trek? Well, what we like to do is we like to use these little index cards, just really simple index cards. You can use little spiral pads, but you give the team some core questions that you want them to answer, or you just have them capture their observations. Now you can capture them really simply. I heard, I saw, I did. Those 3 things. And you capture them one by one by one. As you go through your trek, you have piles and piles of cards, and you don't have any judgment, you just capture what you see. Because if you don't do that, here's what will happen. You'll come back, you'll have had a great day, and you'll give one headline to the other teams, and you'll forget all of that stimulus. And so we want to do something with it. So finally, what do you do with it? How do you synthesize these observations and how do you use them for observation? Well, what we like to do is we like to have the teams come back, and all different teams have been out for the day or the afternoon. We have them come back. It might be even 2 people on a team. That's fine. But they collect all their cards and they start to cluster and theme them. And we give them all sorts of arts and crafts supplies and big boards. And we say, tell the story of the day and the themes that you think are really interesting themes that we could lift and apply to our category. So now you're starting to synthesize, and now you're then ready to share out with your team. So from there, then you can action plan how you use that inspiration, how you take that and apply it to some of your innovation challenges. If you look at what we did last week, we had forced association, where you take that inspiration and smash it together with your challenge to go somewhere new. So you can do this after you get home from your idea trek. And I really think this is something you can handle. You can do it tomorrow, you can do it on Friday, you can do it next week, but get out there with your team and collect some inspiration. Let us know if you need help. We are here to cheer you on. Have a fabulous week.